Yes, hello, children of class 10. Let us continue with the North Indian plains of geography part. Most of the West Bengal state of India and Bangladesh together constitute the delta of Ganga and Brahmaputra system. It is known as Sundarbans. It is considered to be the world's largest delta. Now let me explain you this. So we know that Ganga is the longest river in India, right? It is a very, what to say, it is a perennial river. Why? Because we know that there are many tributaries which join this river Ganga, and also because it originates in in Uttarakhand state on the from the Himalayan ranges. That is the reason also why the Ganga river is called as a perennial river, because it gets water along with the from the tributaries and also from the Himalayas, right? And therefore it continues to flow all the 12 months of the year, no matter what the season is, right? And Brahmaputra also joins and we know that Ganga river's journey, it originates in Uttarakhand, it flows through Uttar Pradesh, it flows through Bihar, and then it enters the West Bengal, right? And then when it enters West Bengal, it joins the Bay of Bengal from there. And not just the Ganga river, but also Brahmaputra, which comes from Arunachal Pradesh, right? This is a trans-boundary river. Brahmaputra is a trans-boundary river. Why? Because it shares or it crosses the international border. It comes from Tibet, right? It comes from Tibet, and from Tibet it comes and enters through Arunachal Pradesh, and then it also joins the or it meets or it empties its water in the Bay of Bengal. So river Ganga and Brahmaputra, let me tell you children that Brahmaputra is the ninth largest and the 15th longest river in the world. So you can understand the volume of water. And also let me tell you the most important or interesting thing about Brahmaputra river, which is the width of this river at its mouth is 150 kilometers. So you can understand the voluminous the quantity of water that it brings along with itself, right? So when Ganga river and Brahmaputra river together, uh, uh, when they empty their waters at the same place, that is at the Bay of Bengal, you should understand that what kind of alluvial soil or the deposits they bring along with them, right? And when they deposit the soil at the mouth, that time a delta is formed. Fine. So such a delta is formed at the Sundarbans, and that is considered to be the world's largest delta. So let me make you understand what a delta is and how it looks like. Okay, for example, supposing this is a river. Okay, it is originating here somewhere, and here it is the journey. Fine. And here is the mouth. Fine. So assuming that this is the Bay of Bengal now, Bay of Bengal over here, and we are talking about the river Ganga. Fine. So when it is about to empty its water in the Bay of Bengal, who river Ganga, let me write down the name. Okay. Then what happens is, the speed of the river actually slows down. And after it slows down, what happens is it breaks into many branches. The same river breaks into many branches. There are small rivers that break from it and they flow. And eventually, what happens is they flow and they all meet the Bay of Bengal. But in this process, what has happened, because they have been divided into several channels, okay, they will flow like this. A part of it will flow this way, a part will flow this way, and what will happen? The middle part that you see in white color, okay, will be left empty. So what is it over here? There is no water. What is it? There is soil which is brought by the river. Okay, it will start getting deposited here, it will start getting deposited here, okay, and also here. Fine. So you can see that these landforms that are formed because of the soil deposition brought by the river, okay, is in triangular shape, okay. So such a landform is called as a delta. Fine. So let's move further. Now, the western part of the North Indian plains is occupied by desert. We know that. It is in Rajasthan. It is also known as Thar Desert or Marusthali. Most of Rajasthan is occupied by this desert. To the north of the desert lie the plains of Punjab. This region is spread to the west of Aravallis and Delhi ranges. These plains have formed as a result of the depositional work by river Satluj and its tributaries. The slope of the plains is towards the west because the soil here is very fertile. Agriculture is largely practiced in this region. So let me tell you children, Satluj also originates from the Himalayas, which is, it actually originates from Tibet. Fine. So it flows from Tibet and then it enters India through Himachal Pradesh, and then it flows through Himachal Pradesh, through Punjab, and then it enters Pakistan. So this is again called as a trans boundary river. Why? Because it crosses the international borders and flows. So it has crossed the Tibet border and entered India. Then again from India it has entered into Pakistan. So Satluj river is a trans boundary river. The slope of the plains is towards the west because the soil here is very fertile. Agriculture is largely practiced in this region. Now let me show you the Indus River. Fine. It is called as Satluj here. While it is in while it is in India, it is called as Satluj. You can see. You can see that it has originated somewhere in Tibet. Okay. It is not somewhere in Tibet. It is in Rakshasthar. It originates in the lake Rakshasthar, which is in Tibet. And from there, it flows westward. When it enters India, it is called as Satluj. Then it flows and enters Pakistan, Satluj, and then this river meets the main river named Indus. Fine. So Satluj happens to be one of the tributaries of the longest river out of the five in Pakistan, that is Indus. Okay, it becomes a tributary to the river Indus. You can see there are a few rivers, sorry, Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, and Satluj together. So all these are the tributaries of which river? Of river Indus. And where do they flow? To the west, that is in Pakistan. Let's continue. Let me just zoom in. Sorry. Now we come to the peninsular part. The peninsula. The area lying to the south of North Indian plains and tapering towards the Indian Ocean is called Indian Peninsula. It consists of many plateaus and hill ranges. You can see that. So they say the peninsula lies to the south of North Indian plains. North Indian plains are these. These are the North Indian plains. Towards its southern part, towards its south. Okay, so from here the peninsular part begins and it tapers towards the south. This is what they say. The Aravallis, sorry, it consists of many plateaus and hill ranges. We know that it really consists of many plateaus. So this is the southernmost part of, or this is the peninsular region. Okay, and it consists of plateaus. We have the Maharashtra plateau, then we have the Telangana plateau, we have the Karnataka plateau. Fine. Then the Aravallis in the north are the oldest fold mountains here. All right. So like the Himalayas, the Aravallis are also an example of fold mountains. So we know children what are fold mountains. Usually what happens is the mountains are formed because of the volcanic eruption, right? But at some there are some exceptions like the Himalayas and the Aravallis, and there are many others on this planet which are examples of fold mountains, right? So we have understood how fold mountains are formed in class 9 in the second chapter, endogenetic movements. We have studied about the folds formed because of the compression of the waves. which waves? The earthquake waves, right? So these are formed because of the earthquake activities, where the waves are compressed and they give rise to the mountains, and hence they are called as the fold mountains. It includes a series of plateaus bordering the plains, Vindhyas and Satpura ranges in the central part, and the hilly regions of western and eastern Ghats. So we know, we saw the location of all the plateaus. These are the western Ghats, the eastern Ghats. We have also seen the Satpura ranges, the Vindhyan ranges, right? So we will discuss the next activity very soon. So, please go through this recording and try to understand the meanings that we have studied so far. See you in the next session. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.